If this keeps up, socialism is inevitable. Just do it two ways around it, man. And unfortunately, as I always do, Trump isn't the guy to save us from this. It's not, because I'll show you. And his idiotic interview with Laura Ingraham just proves that he's, Grandpa Trump, as Mark Dice was saying today. Grandpa said, Grandpa, we might have to take the keys from you. Absolutely. And maybe turn it over to Marjorie Taylor Greene or something, because very few Republicans are showing up. The Democrats, I'm telling you, man, they're getting far ahead of this than the Republicans. It's crazy to me. But so check this out. So I'm reading this book right here. All right, You Had a Job for Life, Story of a Company Town. Old paper mill job in Groveton, New Hampshire. And, it doesn't sound fun, I'll tell you right now. Working in the mill and stuff is not fun, but they did have work, and they had a community, all right? And what we'll see here is this graph sparked some interest to me, if I can show it to you, right here. This right here is a graph, and Groveton Paper Mill maximum hourly wages, 1946 to 2006, and purchasing power in 2006 dollars. And you can see here the purchasing power has grown a little bit, all right? I mean, it has, just a fact. But you'll see the purchasing power is a top graph right here. And it grew right there, all right? And then it just kind of leveled off. Kept up with inflation, but not much more, all right? So the purchasing power for the first, I don't know, what's that, 30 years or so, 1946 to 1975. Basically, 30 years. It grew significantly above the rate of inflation. And then from then on, it just leveled off. So a cute man said, that's interesting. I wonder what the purchasing power, what the stock price has done relative to purchasing power. And basically from 1946, post-World War II, and we're just going to go to 1980. I said, I wonder what happened here. So let's take a look here, shall we? So here we got real wage growth, all right, and the S&P 500 total return, and this is net of inflation. Real wage growth grew by 100% from 1946 to 1979. All right, so over that, 33 years, real wage growth doubled. Real purchasing power doubled. S&P 500 did 20% better than that. From 1980 to 2025, and a lot of people attribute this 1980 to Ronald Reagan, actually it's Jimmy Carter, dude. Jimmy Carter signed a lot of the deregulation stuff. What is it called? There's a big banking deregulation thing that happened in 1980. Did MCA, something like that, or did MCA, something, I can't remember what it's called. And that changed everything. It's crazy, man. I didn't even know about it. Did MCA. Where did I read about that? Was it in this book? I don't think so. I forgot where I read about Did MCA. I think it was called Did. Hold on a second. Let me show you. Yeah, so here's I didn't know anything about Did MCA, but here we are, 1980. A significant piece of U.S. legislation that aimed to deregulate the financial industry and gave the Federal Reserve more control over monetary policy. It achieved this by phasing out interest rate ceilings on deposits, authorizing interest-bearing checking accounts, increasing deposit insurance, and requiring all depository institutions to maintain reserves with the Fed. Basically, what it did is it got rid of state usury laws, essentially. Because a lot of states, Maine, for instance, you couldn't loan more than 6%. I can't remember exactly what it was. But the Did MCA got rid of that. They said, no, states with your usury laws, we're not gonna do that. It's gonna be done by the federal government. And you can make an argument why that happened, because high inflation back in the 70s were leading banks they weren't loaning very much, supposedly. That's the argument in favor of Did MCA, because we're not loaning because we're paying 13% to get $1 in the bank, and we're only owning it at 6%, so we're losing money. And okay, I think there's a legitimacy to that. But at the end of the day, this massively got rid of usury rules, and so credit cards basically just could take over. It's just insane. Anyway, so that was signed by Carter, just FYI. So we go back here to my thing, hang tight. And so remember, Carter had tons of deregulation, tons. I mean, in fact, if anything, I'm surprised how many right-wingers don't love Carter, or the free marketeers don't love Carter, when Carter was the biggest regulator than we probably have ever had. It's crazy. But anyway, so right here you see from 1946 to 1979, wage growth basically kept up with stocks. And this is the S&P total return, dividends, everything. From 1980 to 2025, though, the real wage growth has increased by 20%. 20%. The S&P 500 has increased by 2,650%. And you can see stock returns as a multiple of wage growth. I just that's is that incorrect data? Prove me wrong. Stock returns as a multiple of wage growth. There's a paper, a couple, I forgot who had written it. My man Matt Stoller had referenced it. He said basically the returns of the S&P 500 have been all at the backs of labor, and it's 100% true. I mean, this right here proves it. Look at that. Stock returns as a multiple wage growth. And now you can say, yeah, but I'm in the markets. This is good for me. I get it. Your kids might not be in the market. I mean, your community might not be in the market. You know, I mean, facts are, if we go to the Federal Reserve Board, let's take a look. The SC or the Survey of Consumer Finances from the BLS. We see 55% of families have retirement accounts, and that has stayed stable essentially since 2001. Now, it's much higher than it was in 1988. 89 were 37%, but you can still see that's households. 50%, roughly half of the households have retirement accounts. Then if we go to individual stocks, I think we got to go to non-financial assets. What is it? Is that what it is? No, because that would be banks too and everything. Hold on, so houses. Hold on a sec. Here's directly held stocks. 21% have directly held stocks. Anyway, and let's see about directly held bond. I don't know what this would be. Very few because interest rates are so low. But anyway, you can see with directly held stocks, not very many people own those. Half of us have. Actually, I wonder if it says in here, retirement accounts. What if we can do by age? So we know percent holding, 55% have retirement accounts. So let's do by age. Ooh, we can do by age, yeah. And you can see here, this is 40 less than. Let's see. Less than 35, 49.6% have retirement accounts. 75 and older, 42%. So 55 to, yeah, well, still 35 to 44, 61% do. But the issue is how long have they had those retirement accounts, especially given the numbers I just showed you. And I mean, I don't know. But all I know is the stock growth has dwarfed the wage growth, and people want wages more than they want stock growth. Why? Because wages are what pays your bills. Stock growth will pay your future bills. Wages pay your bills today. It's just a fact. Then we look at this right here. Dude, we suck, man. I mean, when I say we, what the country has done to its working population is freaking disgusting. It's disgusting in terms of just giving away the store to corporations, H-1Bs, massive immigration. We all fell for it for an increase in stock price. And if you think this is only coming from the left, you are unequivocally wrong, dude. Wrong. You're wrong. I'm telling you. That's why guys like Nicholas Fuentes, the freaking flamer, are making such inroads, because people are saying, this isn't America. This is corporatism. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and Trump pushing H-1Bs. This isn't America. And yet the freaking boomers sit there and say, oh, but back in your day, it was a different country there, Gramps. Just as crazy. Anyway, so right here, real housing price, rent and wage. So here's our median household income in blue. And here's our housing price right here, real housing price. Right? This is adjusted with inflation. You can see right there. And then here's rent too. The wages haven't kept up. It's just... And that's how you get socialism, because they're saying the rich people are getting richer. I, as a worker, am getting poorer. Even if I have a retirement account, my wages aren't keeping up. So my retirement account, that's great, but I can't spend that now. I can only hope to spend in the future. I'm just telling you, man, that's how you get socialism. And it's either going to be socialism from the left, the evil socialism for the right, which is top down, more fascistic, which I'm all in favor of, 100%. But it's going to come if things don't change. I'm just telling you right now, you can see this a mile away. The Great Awakening is happening, my friends. And, Trump better get, not just Trump, but Bernie Sanders starts looking very more, less radical, doesn't he? All right. God bless. Love your thoughts. Smash that like button.